Here we are on my winter break project, my Frogpedal. Here's the caps and the resistors on just the power supply. I didn't want to bore you putting them all on. All of the boards, little power supply board. It's like $6 if you buy the other two boards. This is just the preamp itself without any power supply. So I doubled up on everything I bought, and as I put them in, I put the extra one back in here so that everything's set up to populate this guy when I get ready. I'll do the same thing with just the audio portion of this. That will also be the same on here. Just getting all these pieces parts, and then checking every one of them out, and then finding them on your board, and then soldering them on is quite extensive but fun. I love it. Okay, well, here's my first test. I've got all the components on for just the power supply part. See if I can do this. I'm on the B+, and I got 130 volts. Success. The next thing to do here was to get my heater voltage regulator on here and working. Now let's see if I can do this and hold the camera. It's supposed to be about 6 volts. That's pretty good. Well, here it is with everything populated. Oh yeah, Wheel of Fortune. So I finally got all my holes drilled, I think. Quite a bit of planning goes on here. Again, this is going to be a 2-channel, one with the Fender stack, tone stack, and one with the Marshall tone stack. I believe I can use one input. I just got the 2 switch holes here. One other thing to notice here, I had a tube socket, 9-pin tube socket, left over from some other projects, and it's been almost a month since I ordered the circuit board mount, and it's lost in space. I'm sorry, lost in the United States Postal Service. So I'm just going to run jumpers. Just going to run jumpers here down to the circuit board. I hope that works. I don't know why it wouldn't, but I'm impatient. I mean, it's Christmas break. I have to go back to work. Alrighty, this is much as a reference for me as it is just to show you what I'm doing. Of course, I really don't know what I'm doing, but I'm having fun trying to figure it out. I've got all my jumpers that'll go over to the pots, volume units, but this color code right here is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for the 9-pin tube socket, and I'll just bring them around on top and solder them in right there using that color code. Another FYI update. I of course got 9 colors out for this tube socket and realized that 4 and 5 are tied together anyways on a 12AX7. So I tied them together here. I don't know if you can see that or not. On the brown wire. Of course, here's my jumpers to the tube socket. Just barely tacked on there. I just plugged my power supply in, and I'm going to throw the switch, and I would just love to see the red power LED come on. Oh wow. Alright, well I gotta check some voltages now. Make sure I haven't lost any. So when my circuit board tube socket comes in, I'll probably switch this out, but for right now I'd just like to see if the rest of the circuit's working. And for right now I just want to check some voltages. I've got my jumpers just tacked. Oh, you know, it really helps if you know a little bit about electronics. The first thing you have to know is that if you don't put power to your electronics, it's not going to work. So let's turn it on. Thank you very much. I'll tell you something else. There's something in here that Mark at Frogpedals mentions in his instructions, and that's a CLR resistor. I looked and looked and looked for a CLR resistor in all of the distributors and everything, and there was nothing listed as a CLR resistor, and I finally realized that that's a term, current limiting resistor. Huh. You know what? I still learning. Anyways, let's go to B plus here. 129. Okay, now let's go back to pin 1. 128 on pin 1. Nothing on pin 2 of the 12AX7 socket. Nothing on pin 3. Now, I should have 6 volts on pin 4. So I'm going to turn that down. And I don't have 6 volts on pin 4. Something on my board must have been shorted to the bottom of the tube socket, because as soon as I pulled the board, I got my 6 volts back. And of course I put a gasket in there and bent the socket leads down a little bit. Anyways, at least we got that back without goofing up my voltage regulator here that was getting really hot. It's a good thing I found that, because I only bought one of those. Anyways, 128, pin 2, 0, pin 3, 0, pin 4 is 5.9, and of course I've got that pin 5 jumped over, so the tube will have pin 5 the same as pin 4. Okay, so pin 6, 128, pin 7, 0, pin 8, 0, and pin 9. Again, without a tube in there, that's probably what it's going to look like. Anyways, sorry I got the dryer going, but I have to move on. Anyways, we're going to reset this voltage with the tube in to 185. With the trimmer. Wow, it's really touchy. 186.2, good enough for me. Okay, here we go. We're going to try this puppy out. Keep your fingers crossed. It's an old 75 watt Macintosh MI 75, going into a couple weird speakers, but it'll give us a clue. So let's start this at about a quarter, and oh wow. Turn the bright off. Wow. I need to put the knobs on so I can tell where they are. Anyways. Wow, the thing works and it sounds good. Cool.